Let's get the recording started. Okay. Welcome everybody to PTRU number 2 of the tier, Sprocketmonger number 2. We are going to finish out this fight tonight. Maybe talk a little bit about One-Armed. But yeah, I hope you guys are going to enjoy this, pay attention, be active, ask questions, because that'll save us a bunch of time in raid. That's the whole point. So without further ado, let's get started. So I have us already at the midpoint here of this VOD. This is a different group, but I'm sure they do it the same way. So they are right coming out of the first intermission. We're pretty solid up to this point, I would say, but after this, it starts to get a little hectic. We just need to figure out the players that are having trouble with the gateway. Getting that on a comfortable bind where they can mash it and they never miss it. That would be really helpful. So that's something to work on individually if you miss in the gate. Mouse wheel was recommended for that, but basically anything that's spammable comfortably is good to go. So let's go ahead and watch through this here and see what happens. I think this is the end of the intermission. Yeah. So red should stay close to the belt, and blue goes to the far side.
Okay, watch color here. This is me and Jimmy going far, everyone else to the wall for baits.
They swap here. I'm gonna lower his volume. They are baiting drills, ranged are baiting drills here on the far side. I don't think this is fully necessary, but you can. And they're doing pops here, so they popped the 2 far ones. Now they're gonna do the close ones. And then they're going to set up for beams. These are the first time you see the big beams in the fight.
Watch these drills as we're going across.
Those drills are hellish. But yeah. So going down here, so there's a couple of things to notice, and we were calling this out when we were doing this in Prague, but they have 2 players that are going to need to stay behind on diamond and green here. So that's their hunter and I bet a boomkin as well, where the rest of the raid is moving down to the end. Now blue can take this conveyor belt here, but red needs to walk this way and be careful because they've got the conveyor belt with a little mine on it. And then there's also the bombs on the ground. There's a bomb on the ground over here near blue, or as a square, and you can't touch that as you're going down. Another way to look at that here is in the raid plan. This is basically what they're doing. The beams have happened, those are going away, and they're just going to move down in parallel fashion here. So blue, just be aware, especially blue melee, if you're gonna try to stay in boss range while you're going down. This is a little scary, especially if you're going to go across this conveyor belt. I would recommend blue melee probably just hop up on this conveyor belt and then come back into boss range. But blue range can just ride the conveyor belt all the way down to the end. Can anybody tell me why does blue, actually all ranged, why do they go all the way to the end here when the boss stops right here? That's right.
The drills.
The drills, that's right. So drills do come up here shortly, and especially blue. Blue needs to get these out of the way. And why does blue need to put the drills over here?
Because we're going across next.
That's right.
The star and circle.
Oh, these markers are in the wrong spot. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Now the markers are in the right spot. So yeah, they'll go across here. So that's perfect. So that's really what you're going to see here. So let's go ahead and watch that in action.
Okay, skill shot Columbia staying behind. Sorry, I should have called that earlier. Okay.
Raid leader apologizing. So baiting drills, he's okay, good. He makes it all the way to the end. Good, and he's got the drills. Those are totally fine because they're out of the way. And then you got to get in for the beams because the beams happen there pretty quickly after drills. So we got to do the pops very well there. The pops were happening and drills were being baited. That's the one in the barrier. Swapping polarity, and then blue team goes far to get out of the way. And we're going to drag the boss over as well. So these drills are the L drills.
Personals, health pot.
So you can kind of see how they did that there. They put 2 drills here, and then there's one right here. I don't know if we're going to see that from this POV. Let's back up just a little bit and watch that happen.
L shape. Make sure you're in a good spot.
Yeah, so these guys, see how close they are to the raid? Because they did 1, 2, and then they moved forward here to make an L shape with their drills. So 1, 2, and third one forward. And this is because right after the drills here, the beam happens, and you have to be able to get in very quickly. So watch them do that here.
Personals, health
Yeah,
pot.
so they did that. They executed that perfectly.
Just live. Just watch missiles.
And this is the hardest part of the fight. You make it through all that,
Watch Evan.
and basically the sucker is over. We're gonna go into the intermission here again.
This is when you get this color swap. Just be aware.
Interesting, they don't move the boss down until later.
Look at the angle here.
Color swap.
Switch. Look at the angle on the gate here, Blue.
Oh, they actually just stay down here.
Red.
Okay, that's really interesting the way that they handled that. I don't think I love that, but it works for them, so it works for them. So this is just another intermission. There's nothing different about this except for how it gets set up, right? So I think intermission, this is the first intermission, right? This is the one we're familiar with, where red gets knocked back here. We actually move the gate kind of over here-ish, but, you know, same idea. So red gets knocked into the gateway's over here, and then blue gets knocked into the middle or over here so that melee can get onto the far side, right? It's set up like that. So blue far, red close, and it goes down here. Now for this intermission, it is red is going far, and blue is gating close, and so it's kind of cattywampus. So the red will rotate around a little bit to get towards the gate. Blue, or give space so that blue can take the gate. And then yeah, I think we decided we wanted to have similar setup here for blue, so that gateway is a little bit further back so they can spam it. So you just want to align yourself so you get knocked towards the gate, and then you take the gate over here. And then it's set up like this. So it's opposite of what we're used to from the first intermission, right? Blue far, red close, red far, blue close with the gate. Any equestrians on how that's supposed to work? All right, perfect.
Yeah, based on red getting.
Sorry, well, you're cutting out quite a bit. Where?
Sorry. Is that better?
Yeah.
Much 10 times.
Based on your raid plan with the red being knocked the way they are, is melee still getting knocked the same way as they would in P1?
Yeah, so
like upwards towards where the boss is going to be tanked?
No, we're not.
red melee?
Okay, so you're just like hard running around then.
Yeah.
You mean red melee?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can as red melee, like as if I were you, or I'd just get knocked straight back, and then I'd just walk over here. That's probably how I would do it, like that.
Thank you.
But yeah, this is just kind of to delineate. Yeah, but melee can do that. Cool. So yeah, red starts over on this side, right? So red when we move the boss over, red will swing around to the right instead. I believe this is this is counter what we did on the first one. We actually rotated around clockwise, but this is going to be counterclockwise. So red's going to rotate to the right, and then blue is going to rotate to their right as well to line themselves up with the gate. Okay, and then it just ends up like this.
Or on that one, would the boss be closer to? Does it make more sense to have him closer to the conveyor belts and not super centered? So blue has more, like a better angle.
Well, this
You know
is
what I mean?
not pictured in the raid plan is the conveyor belts are all here. So this isn't the belts. Yeah, the belts are all this empty space up here.
All right, cool. Yeah, I just felt like blue was getting like kind of squeezed out there.
Yeah, no, they'll be okay. Okay, cool. So as long as we're understanding that, let's just watch that happen here. These guys do it a little bit different, but it's basically the same idea. Knock back in 4. Let's watch the setup for that.
Switch. Look at the angle on the gate here, Blue.
Yeah, that's a really, I don't like this at all. I mean, it makes sense, but that looks a little sketchy. They were very close, but they made it work.
Yeah, and they went to the middle of the electricity, so the wire.
Okay, we're doing blue on purple, red on green.
They went to the middle of the electricity.
Yeah, he went right to the middle of that,
Remember,
so he's right in the middle of the,
Yeah,
the wire transfer.
He just got knocked back so that he was like safe, basically. Yeah, but that was
They all kind of did.
yeah, and I think that's because that's a good call. I think that's because blue needed to be near the gate there. So
angle here.
yeah, if you watch,
Okay, switch. Look at the angle on the gate.
since blue has to be here near the gate, red can. This is the farthest right they can go for the knockback, so they can't even
Yeah.
get knocked there. That's another reason, maybe. That's a little sketchy. I mean, obviously they made it work just fine, but it is probably not the best plan. This guy got knocked into the air. Look at that. He lives those.
Okay, we're doing blue on purple, red on green, red on green.
So they rotate orientation here, and this is the only one that you do this for after the intermission. So he said blue on purple, red on green. Let's just get an overhead view of that. When we come off the belts, right, red is on this side already, and blue is on this side. So you just walk off the belt towards the marker that's closest to you, but we're shifting orientation, right? Because typically we are like north-south or whatever in orientation, but this one is going to be left-right. So blue goes here, red goes here, but red to green, blue is on purple side. And it makes perfect sense because of where we came off of the belt. It's also going to make sense based on what we need to do for the rest of the fight. But basically, fight is pretty much dead at this point. There's not too much to do. Blue team will just back up and bait their drills right here on the side. Red team, back up, bait your drills here. Just be careful not to accidentally hit a mine. Notice there's some far cursed ones. These are the hunters, mages, warlocks. Maybe we'll get picked for this. Some far cursed ones. So just be aware of that. That'll happen. And then we will dodge the orbs, which if you were watching Race to World First or have paid attention to Prague at all for any teams, the orbs are notorious. This is how you wipe. Basically, it's the mutation of the Wowhead rockets, but instead of shooting out rockets, it just shoots out these purple void orbs, and their gimmick is that if it hits you, it explodes and does raid damage. And you might be able to live 1, but 2 probably kills most everybody, and 3 definitely wipes the raid, and there's just a bunch of orbs. So you don't even do damage to the boss when the orbs are out. You literally just watch and dodge those orbs. Like, they're so important that you stop your rotation, you turn your camera, look at the orbs, and just make sure you dodge them, because we live if we dodge, we die if we don't. And then basically the boss is over at that point. We translate over here. And then finish it out with some drills as well. There are some mine soaks, but we probably, even on our first kill, probably won't even pop these mines. We'll probably kill the boss. The boss will only be at like 3 or 4% at this point. Okay, so let's watch that happen. You get a color swap right off of the belt, just like you did at the beginning of P2.
Do immunities do nothing for the orbs?
They do not.
They still pop on the raid.
Yeah, they still pop the whole raid.
Like, you won't take damage, but the raid will take damage.
So they're really careful here, right? There's bombs here on the ground and bombs here, so they can't do that. The far mines are being set off, and these are for the later part. So you are on this side of the boss, like the purple side is blue, but you want to be careful not to set off those mines. Baiting drills back. It's actually okay to put them on the belt here because they are moving the other way.
Watch these balls. Watch balls here. Do
Okay, so here's the orbs. You can take a look at them. See, they've had like one person dead the entire fight, and they're still at 4% here for the orbs. So there's not much left to the fight. So it's literally just dodge these orbs as they come through. Nobody can get hit. Not a single person.
Moving to Skull next. Don't hit the mines.
And then you just move over. You just translate over. And boss dies here. That's it. That's the whole thing. There are some more drills, and then the mine pops if we make it that far, you know, like we were limping to that part of the phase, but we're just going to handle those. That's the whole damn thing. Any equestrians about how we're going to finish that out?
I have a question about my soak after the first intermission.
First intermission. Okay.
So
You're usually on one of these, right?
I was getting red a lot, which is moon, and I was having trouble living. I guess I'm gonna have to save my shield wall for that. But also, if I did live, I was getting drills sometimes coming out of that. Where do they go?
I would,
Because everyone's coming down. Like, I guess, are they gone by the time we come back down there? Is my question.
We start getting them back.
so this here is like no man's land. You can't put the drills here, right? Because this is going to be where we're going to want to be. I think actually, scratch that. I think they're actually going to be deleted.
I think they're gone by the time we go down, because we have to go all the way to where I have to go get back to where you guys are for the purple beams, and then we move back down there.
That's
so I don't
true.
know if they're even still there, but I don't know.
Yeah, they won't still be there. So yeah, you can utilize any of that. I would just not put them here because that's where the boss is going to go.
Right.
So if you can make it out, that's actually kind of cursed. I would probably
Yeah, because I'm out
that's
of range of
fair.
everyone, so like I
Right.
get no heals. It's pretty much just I have to live on my own. Like,
Yep, definitely. So
Oh, we
yeah,
only
If
talked
you
about
tell
two-
me
we
ahead
didn't
of
get
time
there
to hot
much.
you up too, I can send you over there with hots. So
I think it's either me or Void every time. Like whoever gets blue
Pretty
gets the
much.
square, and whoever is red gets moon.
Warlock
Oh, I know,
bonds.
I've
Depending
done
on
That's
it
how
a
it's
couple
been for
times,
me. Yeah, it
Yeah.
feels like
Like-
that.
but I can live.
Yeah, I would put them like if you were red, I would put them kind of along here, like as you're running back.
Or like even on the belt, like
Yep. And if you were blue, I would go this way. I think the belt is actually going up this way for red, so you could actually just put them on the belt going up this way.
Yeah.
And then people can just watch as they're coming down, or up here. But I would just run back. But if you could avoid, yeah, this white zone here, I think that's best.
I think you've already popped, or the drills are you've already started running back by the time.
no, I've definitely popped and then gotten drills or
Oh, like,
something
I mean, like
as
like
I'm
on your
running
way
back to the group.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's pretty bright on it too.
Yeah, that's the same problem that healers are having with that first pop as well. Is like sometimes you just get picked for the drills as you're popping one of the ones where people need to go, like this one on red here at the opener. So we've had some trouble with that. Well, that's why you've seen some drills in weird spots.
or
Cool.
someone running through last second, opposite color.
So One-Armed Bandit, since we don't have any more questions about this, just setting it up. I'm not gonna just discuss just a little bit of what you guys can expect from that one. Well, first and foremost, it is probably like the hardest 6th boss in the history of raiding. So just be prepared for that. It's going to be like a mega challenge. Plus Jan and Buckus will be out, so we're gonna have our work cut out for us on that fight for sure. There are certain classes that are much better for it. Basically, the main sticking point that most raids have with that fight is that the ads are not dying fast enough. The ads cause just a whole bunch of problems, so there are certain classes that are much better for that, such as shadow
Oh
priests
shit,
and
it's my time to shine.
such as not even you so much as like, because there's not that many ads, right? Like you just need
Going to
spread
cry.
cleave. But warlocks definitely are good at it. And
affliction.
and it looks to be a 3 healer fight as well, for that reason as well, which is just nuts. And then like all 3 healers need to be pumping over 3 million HPS, so it's gonna be an absolute monster of a fight. So we just need to make sure that we are prepped for that. Otherwise it's going to be even more of a monster. So just take a look. I think more than anything, it's going to be like min-maxing your character, making sure that we can hit those throughput checks first and foremost is going to be tough. So anything that you can do to look at those logs and see what's best is going to be very helpful. The other thing is, you know, there are a few mythic only details that are different. So number one is that tank circle happens on the whole group. So it can, well, not the whole group at once, but it can happen on a random player, like a random DPS or healer, as well as the tank when it goes out. So the big hit, so you drop that cloudy thing, the same thing that you've seen on heroic. So, and there's no way it doesn't notify you when you have it. So you just have to kind of wiggle and know that you have it. So that's kind of a bummer. And then the other change on Mythic is that the assistants, the ads, are invulnerable until a coin hits them. And they're not invulnerable totally, but they can't go below 25% HP. So they have like a little threshold there. And so a coin needs to be rolled at each of the ads to kill them. So we have to have accurate coin rolling when those roll through. And then last difference that I'm aware of is that all of the, if you push the boss early, then all of the mechanics that you haven't done, like the rewards, will activate at the same time. So there is a whole damage point towards the end where you just need to wait to deposit the coins and then push him afterwards. So those are just some of the things that I know so far. But yeah, anything that you can do to look into maximizing that character throughput, because the ads need to die, the healing needs to be super high, otherwise we aren't going to even be able to work on the mythic mechanics yet. So just want to prepare you guys for that, set expectations that is going to be a bit of a Mount Everest in terms of especially a 6th boss for us, but we like a challenge, that's why you're here, so we'll be just fine with that.
Do you have any VODs on the coins? Do you know of any like specific ones?
Banchers does
searching.
it. I would
Banchers,
just,
okay.
yeah, I would just grab him to begin with. I think also, no, that's not true. Maybe Draco from Echoes has his POV up as well. He does it. So that's a good question. Worth checking. What else? Is there anything else that I want to mention about
Are you
Bandit?
planning a 4-heal or 3-heal this?
I'm planning on 3 right now.
Are you accounting for the nerf that's coming in?
The nerf just happened.
Already happened. Okay.
Yeah, it's already in. However, I don't think 10% on the ads is going to change that. I'm still looking at kills from guilds this week, and they're still 3 healing it. But that might be because they were just used to it while they were progging anyway. So they stayed that way. There might be a shift in meta, but currently it's still a 3 heal meta. Oh, the other thing too, just as a thing, if you're a coin depositor, basically what we want to do is deposit at like 1 second left or less every time. you can actually mess up all of the fights on rails, but you can actually mess up the spell queuing if you deposit the coins early, is what like a lot of guilds have found. So waiting until like the last available second to deposit the second coin especially increases the consistency of the fight quite a lot. All right, cool. I think that's enough information for tonight. Unless you guys have any more questions or discussion you want to go over. Last call.
Sounds good.
All right. We are
Thanks,
ending
Gord.
it there. Thank you guys. Have a good night.